Okay, so a very good morning and welcome to the lecture 14 on heat transfer for chemical engineers. Till now, we have seen two types of heat exchangers and their thermal design. So, firstly, we saw what is a double pipe heat exchanger and its construction. And then in the previous three or four odd classes, we understood the shell and tube heat exchanger and its thermal design and other considerations. So apart from these two, there are other two types which we will be discussing a bit later in the course. So they are plate and frame, and so it's a plate and frame type and fin type. So the other two types, the plate and frame and the fin type, or which is also called as extended surface thing. We'll be discussing this a bit later in the course. So in today's class, first I will try to divide the type of heat exchanger problems into classes. So actually we have seen both of these type of problems, but today we'll formally classify them into two types. So the first class is the rating problem. All right. So a rating problem in heat exchanger is about finding out the outlet temperatures of your streams. So in a rating problem, you would be knowing the input temperatures for both the streams. You'll be knowing the mass flow rates for both the streams. You'll be knowing the CP values for both the streams. You will be also knowing U, area, and other flow arrangements. And the only target yeah, so these are the knowns, and your target in this kind of problem uh, will be to find out Q and TH out and TC out. All right. The second class of problem is known as the sizing problem, and this is the problem that we have been this type of problem is are the problems that we have been discussing in our full-fledged problems or the comprehensive problems in our classes. So typically in a sizing problem, the knowns are the inlet and outlet temperatures for both the streams. Then you know the mass flow rates. You have a guess value for U, or you can evaluate that U by taking into considerations the flow arrangement. So in case of double pipe heat exchanger, the things are pretty much straightforward, but in the case of shell and tube heat exchanger, you kind of fix the flow arrangements and then you can get the value of u. And the main objective of this problem is to find out the heat transfer area. And you would surely appreciate that we have been discussing this type of problems a lot in our previous classes. Uh, a mix of this type of problems, reading problems, we have seen them in GATE, but they were not typically a complete full-fledged rating problems because they were typically a single step problems. All right, so moving further and trying to understand rating problems in a bit more detail, because that's where our discussion lies for today, is this. So in the rating problem, if I draw a heat exchange over here, so this is a heat exchanger wherein this hot stream is going in, going out, this cold stream is cooling it. So this is a heat exchanger. So this value and only this value will be known to you. All right, but you won't be knowing these two values. Also, you won't be knowing the value of Q. So if you think of solving this problem, you would be stuck, because if you recall the procedures for our both shell and tube as well as double pipe, we require the value of delta T LMTD, and delta T LMTD essentially requires all the four temperatures. And even in the procedures that I have discussed with you, our first step was always to calculate Q and all the four temperatures and both the flow rates using the given data. So, it might be the case that one or two of them things are known, one or and you need to do some sort of rearrangement. But in a typical rating problem, neither of these three values, the Q and the outlet temperatures are known. Now, you guys would be thinking, what is the physical significance? ये ऐसा problem कहाँ दिखता है हमें? ये rating problem. हमको तो पता रहेगा ना कि we need to cool the stream from this temperature to that temperatures. At least एक stream का तो पता होना चाहिए. So where do we find this problem actually? So I will take a example from industry, a common example. So let's say you are a process engineer and you are trying to design a process. So the process is very simple and it involves around a reactor. So yeah, this is your nice so yeah, this is your nice stir tank reactor, wherein a reaction A going to B is taking place, and this reaction takes place at around 90 degrees Celsius. So which means that the inlet stream for A now needs to be heated. So This is the inlet stream that I'm drawing, and you need to heat the stream to achieve the required temperature. So this particular symbol that I have drawn, this one, this is for a heat exchanger. You'll be studying this in your upcoming classes on chemical equipment design or chemical engineering drawing. So typically we'll have this A stored at roughly 25 degrees Celsius, and now it has to be heated to 90 degrees Celsius so that uh, it can be fed to the reactor. The output of the reactor will be coming out at 90 degrees Celsius, and typically it needs to be cooled down, because you can't store a chemical at 90 degrees Celsius. You need to bring it down to your room temperature for storage or for final use. So there will be another heat exchanger coming along, and this typical heat exchanger will be cooling the uh, product B from 90 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. ऑल राइट, अब तक तो कहानी बहुत ही आराम से, बहुत ही स्मूथ चल रही थी कि चलो जी ये कर लेंगे, बट देन one day your company product manager comes and says, guys, we are wasting a lot of money on making this product. Our competitors have brought down the price, and now we need to do something wherein the cost of production for our chemical B should go down. And now one of our friend suggests, we have a stream which needs to be heated, and we have a stream that needs to be cooled. Why not I use this stream to heat this stream? In that way, I will reduce the cost of steam required to heat and the cooling water required to cool. The product manager says, perfect, that's good. So now you as the engineers of this particular industry says, okay, why not, let's try doing it. So this was your first design of the process. Now you try to make a new design for this process, wherein you take out this exchanger, and now your product is fed to this exchanger. And now in this exchanger, you are trying to heat the product, the reactant stream, to the maximum temperature possible. Now you see, we have we have full control, or our flow rates for the reaction are fixed. This flow rate, this flow rate, their Cp values can be different. Sorry, this will be Cpc, this will be Cph over here. So this typically Cpc, Cph are different. So we cannot say that 100% energy requirements are reduced, but we can say up to a certain extent the energy requirements can be completed. So we cannot actually predict the outlet temperature of the final the A reactant stream that has been coming out over here. Do you guys agree with me on this? Yes, a simple raise of hands. Okay, great. So you guys are agreeing that we cannot estimate what temperature will be here. So as a modification to his design, and to just for the sake of completing the process flow sheet, to say we'll have another heater over here, the second heater, that will ensure that the product is finally heated to 90 degrees Celsius over here. So but now you need to find out what is the temperature over here and what is the temperature that we are getting here. We know that this will be very much close to 25 degrees Celsius, but we don't know up to what it can actually exchange the heat. So designing or of the problem for this exchanger is a typical rating problem, where we know that. So now just coming back to the initial first diagram. So yeah, this was the stream A that had to be heated, which was coming in at 25 degrees Celsius, and we don't know it up to what uh, temperature we can heat it. And this was the product stream that was required to be cooled, and it was coming in at 90 degrees Celsius, and we don't know at what temperature it will be exiting, and we don't know the exit temperatures, but we are going to use it. We want to design an exchanger for this particular case, wherein we want to minimize our energy requirements, so that that can bring down the cost. So this is one typical example in industry where rating problem comes into picture. This problem is not about sizing. This problem is a rating problem, because you don't know the outlet temperatures, you don't know the Q as well. So is the concept of rating problem clear to you guys? Sai, Kiran, Devang?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So yeah, so I think you all are very clear with the concept of rating problem. So if you want to solve, now the question is how to proceed with this problem. Now you know the problem. You also know our procedures, the standard procedures for design calculations for a shell and tube heat exchanger and a double pipe heat exchanger, or any heat exchanger in general, wherein we require delta T LMTD, and delta T LMTD requires all the four temperature. So how to do it, or how to proceed for this? So what uh, one of our friends suggested, or what a process can be, is the use of iterative methods. So basically you will go for use of iterations, where you assume one temperature, I mean one exit temperature. You assume one exit temperature. Then once a exit temperature has been estimated, then you can use MCP times delta T on that particular stream, calculate Q. Then you can calculate the other temperature. Then you can take a heat exchanger, or you'd know the heat exchanger, then you can find out the value of A, then you can go and again find out the value of U. Then you can compare the areas, then again you can go back, and so on so forth. चलते रहेगा till the things converge. So I am considering that the area is known. Maybe you knew the heat exchanger, or you area was known something as a starting point. Then you calculated U. Then based on U, you went on to A, compared them, and till value matches, and so on so forth. Or you can compare the value of U. I mean, you take a guess value of U, you calculate the area, then again calculate U and compare and so on and so forth. So this is a typical way to solve this. But all okay, this is one case of a rating problem. Okay, I will now give you second example of a rating problem. Okay, this had come up in our class, so let me just mark it as one. So this is example one of the rating problem. Okay. Now let me give you example two. Okay, so our friend Sai Kiran had asked us, can or if I'm right, he only was the one who had asked. So what if we have a heat exchanger in the industry and now we want to use it for some different stream, for some different uh, uh, streams? Can Is it possible, or we need to break that down completely and procure a new heat exchanger? uh, do you guys recall this problem coming up in our previous lectures? Yeah, anyone? Yeah, all right. So this is the right time to address this problem and understand what's happening. So the second example that I want to give here is of that particular case wherein you were knowing the value. Now you know that we already have a heat exchanger, and we wish to use it for some other stream, or rather, or you need to validate whether uh, the heat exchanger provided by manufacturer is meeting your requirements, right? So again, in this particular case, you will be knowing the area and the flow. Again, so in this particular case, again, you will be knowing the area of the heat exchanger. You will be knowing the flow arrangements in the heat exchanger. Once you have decided on what kind of fluids you are going to use, or even in the case of validation, you know your fluids, the process fluid and service fluid, or the cold fluid and the hot fluid. So you know its CP values, you know the flow rate values, even in this case, even in this case. And you must be knowing the TC in and TH in values, and your target is to find out what Q you will get and what TH out and TC out you will get. So for this case of second problem, uh, 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 by meaning to validate, you check whether the given provided heat exchanger or the specifications of the heat exchanger provided by the manufacturer are giving you your desired TH and TC out values. So, and in this case, wherein you had already had a heat exchanger and now you are using it for some other stream, you are trying to find out what is the outlet values that I will be getting. So again, this particular example falls into the category of a rating problem. Is this clear, guys? Folks, Is this particular example clear? Saikiran, Devang, Praneeth. Okay, great, great. So again, here also again, then you can proceed to use of iterations and do it. But use of iterations is a very lengthy process, and then it will require a lot of computations. So to solve such problems wherein we don't know outlet temperatures, another way of solving the problem can be used. So till now we have seen the use of delta T LMTD in solving the problems, but in some cases, or in some sort of problems, or in some sort of arrangements of problem, we are now uh, uh, facing difficulties in solving the problem using delta T LMTD. And if we still want to continue with the delta T LMTD, we have to actually go for a lot of iterations and complex calculations. So another approach uh, for this delta T LMTD can be the use of epsilon NTU method. So this is a second way of solving the problems, and this is typically used to solve rating problems. And this is rather the most common method for rating problems. And the main agenda of our today's discussion is understanding this particular effectiveness NTU relations for heat exchangers. All right, this is also called as epsilon NTU in short, where epsilon is for efficiency and NTU stands for number of transfer units. All right, a quick what I can say, sort of correlation. You will be seeing this term epsilon and NTU in your mass transfer also. Uh, so whenever you will be discussing distillation tower, then any sort of mass transfer operation unit design, so NTU method is used over there also. So epsilon NTU is a kind of method to solve the problems. There also, instead of delta T LMTD, you will be having delta C LMTD, or the drive LM log mean difference of the driving force. Here it was temperature, so it was temperatures log mean difference, and the things will be pretty much similar. So you can take the understanding from this and apply it over there as well. Okay, so now I will first define what is effectiveness. So now we'll start with the effectiveness NTU relations for heat exchangers. All right, so first step is to define what is epsilon. So epsilon is defined as Q over Q max. Okay, so now let me tell you what is Q and what is Q max. So here Q is the actual heat transfer rate. and Qmax is the maximum heat transfer rate permitted. Okay, so what is this maximum heat transfer rate permitted? So let's take a case of counterflow heat exchanger. So for a counterflow heat exchanger, Qmax will be for the fluid with the minimum value of m dot Cp, which will be undergoing a temperature change, which is going to be equal to the difference between the inlet temperatures of the hot stream and cool stream. Okay, so I understand this is a pretty much heavy thing to digest. So let me just quickly draw a diagram and try to simplify the things. So yeah, this is a heat exchanger that we have over here. These are the streams. So we know the build of the heat exchanger. We know area, and this is a double pipe heat exchanger. So we know area, and the rest of we know the flow rates also. But on the only thing that we don't know is the outlet temperatures, the typical rating problem. All right. So for this heat exchanger, now I'll try to put some values so that you guys can understand. It becomes easy to comprehend. So let's say 90 degrees Celsius, a hot fluid was coming in, and water at 25 degrees Celsius was coming in to cool it out. All right. So in this heat exchanger, knowing the value of this, what is the maximum, try to understand what will be the maximum heat transfer that I can think of. So the maximum heat transfer will be at that time when you have maximum temperature gradient. So you can then draw a graph. I'll try to give a graphical view of this case. So yeah, all right. So now remember I had asked you a question, a homework question around 2 or 3 classes before, as what can be the maximum temperature that can be achieved over here, and many of you had rightly answered for the case of counterflow exchanger. This particular temperature can go up to 25, and this particular temperature can maximum reach up to 90, and it can't go beyond that. I hope this is just the maximum limit, and these are not the actual values. So this can go maximum up to, and this can also go maximum up to. If you go above this value, if you go above this or below this, then the direction of the transfer will be reverse. This is from thermodynamics. This is this limit is coming from thermodynamics. Do you guys remember it? Yes. I guess many of you had answered it at that time. Devang, I guess he was the first one to answer. Yes. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So do you remember this homework problem that I had given, a thought problem ki मतलब कि हम किस क्या बोलते हैं लिमिट तक टेम्परेचर बढ़ा सकते हैं? Yeah, Devang says yes. So you can't go beyond 90 on this side. You can't go beyond 25 over here. Otherwise, heat transfer की direction change हो जाएगी. So this is the maximum limit that you can have. So this is the maximum delta T that you can have. So what will be the Q max that this system can give? So देखो हमने तो डेल्टा टी इधर का फिक्स कर दिया. So MCP minimum times the delta T maximum. क्योंकि देखो let me now put some numbers. ठीक है, just to give an idea. देखो इसका इन दोनों का प्रोडक्ट आ रहा है 100 in some units, and इन दोनों का प्रोडक्ट आ रहा है 200. All right. So what is the maximum Q that we can undergo for this particular heat exchanger? So इसका maximum temperature 25 डिग्री तक जा सकता है. इसका maximum temperature कहाँ तक जा सकता है? 90 तक ही जा सकता है. Okay. So if I say 90 minus 25, which is 65, into 100 is the Q that I can get with this. Okay, so this will turn out to be 6500. Unit is say watts. And for this particular stream over here, ठीक है, मैक्सिमम हम लोग कितना कर सकते हैं? इसका टेम्परेचर मैक्सिमम 90 तक जा सकता है. इसका MC इंटू CPC की वैल्यू, मतलब मास फ्लो रेट, एंड CP की वैल्यू 200 है. So 200 into 65, which comes out to be wet. Now think logically. क्या मैं इसका Q max 13,000 वैट लिख सकता हूं क्या? ये तो 13,000 वैट एनर्जी दे सकता है इस पर्टिकुलर सिस्टम में, बट क्या ये स्ट्रीम 13,000 वैट एनर्जी एब्जॉर्ब करने के लायक बची है क्या? कैन दिस पर्टिकुलर स्ट्रीम एब्जॉर्ब 13,000 वैट? नो, दिस कैन ओनली एक्सचेंज 6,500 वैट्स in the given arrangement. So what will be the Q max over here? The Q max over here will be 6,500 only, क्योंकि ये सिर्फ 6,500 exchange करने के capable है, whereas this is capable to exchange up to 13,000 watts in the given exchanger. हम लोग सब मैक्सिमम कर लिया, सबको हमने मैक्सिमम वैल्यू तक खींच लिया कि ये मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर कहाँ तक जा सकता है, इसका मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर कहाँ तक ड्रॉप कर सकता है इस एक्सचेंजर में. वी नो द फ्लो रेट्स. So maximum that amount of heat that this particular stream can exchange is this. Maximum amount of heat that this amount of stream can exchange is this. So we have to take the value which is minimum, क्योंकि ये तो 13,000 दे देगा, बट ये लेकिन ये तो 13,000 नहीं ले सकता है ना हॉट वाला, वो तो सिर्फ 6,500 ले पा रहा है इस पर्टिकुलर केस में. So what is the Q max coming out in this counter flow heat exchanger? So the Q max is coming out to be MCP of the fluid with the minimum, it's coming out to be fluid with the minimum MCP times the temperature difference of this. Can you guys now understand this case, or can you guys now understand the profoundness of this particular expression after putting out the values? Q max will be this. So I'll write it out over here for everyone. So basically Q max will be M times Cp, whichever is minimum. So it can be your hot stream, it can be your cold stream. मैंने ये एग्जांपल में हॉट स्ट्रीम को कम किया है, किसी और केस में कोल्ड स्ट्रीम का कम हो सकता है. सो वॉट एवर इट इज दैट वैल्यू, विच एवर stream is having the minimum MCP times so essentially this is the maximum heat that can be transferred by the given exchanger. Is this point clear, guys? Raise of hands. जिसको भी doubt है, please unmute yourself and ask me right away. Yeah, Kaushik, Praneeth.
I did not understand the how MCP minimum.
Okay, Praneeth, Kaushik, right? Kaushik, please keep yourself unmuted.
Yes, sir.
And we'll have a conversation over here right now. Okay. So Kaushik, एक हीट एक्सचेंजर हमने बनाया, डबल पाइप हीट एक्सचेंजर. ठीक है, मेरे पास वो हीट एक्सचेंजर आ चुका है. उस हीट एक्सचेंजर में मैं एक हॉट वाटर एट 90 डिग्री सेल्सियस को कूल करना चाह रहा हूँ. And to cool this hot stream, I'm going to use a cool stream, a cool fluid, which is coming in at 25 degree Celsius. यहाँ तक कोई प्रॉब्लम?
No, sir.
Okay. अब मुझे निकालना है कि, and now I have fixed the mass flow rates also. कि I know the mass flow rates also. कि my hot stream is coming out at this particular flow rate, some 1 kg per second or something like that, and my cold stream is also coming out at this flow rate. So we can think of this problem coming out over here. ये जैसे हमने हीट एक्सचेंजर डाला था कि इस रिएक्टर को से 1 kg per second ऑफ ए चाहिए, एंड इसका जो प्रोडक्ट है, ठीक है, वो 1 kg per second ऑफ A plus B है, where B and you know the mass flow rates. This is a hot stream, this is the cold stream. You know the masses, mass flow rates now, and you know the Cp values also for the particular hot and cold stream. यहाँ तक clear है?
Yes, sir.
What I want to identify over here is what will be the maximum heat that I can transfer in this heat exchanger, or maximum heat transfer rate that can be permitted by thermodynamics. So the maximum heat transfer rate के लिए हम क्या बोलेंगे? maximum delta T होना चाहिए. Agree or not?
Yes, sir.
What from my guide? Yeah. So we'll say for maximum heat transfer to occur, will require maximum delta C value, delta T value, right? So
Yes, sir.
this stream, cold stream, can reach maximum up to 90. अगर 90 के एक भी डिग्री ऊपर चला गया, 91, तो वो जो 90 और 91 के बीच में जो भी वैल्यू रहेगी. So let me draw it graphically over here to have a better understanding. So this was the, on this axis is the length, ठीक है, and here are the temperatures. Okay, here are your temperatures and here is your length. Okay, so what I know is these 2 points, pH in, and the other thing that I know is TC in. Okay, so what one can expect is TH in का कुछ ऐसा ग्राफ होगा, सॉरी यहाँ से यहाँ तक का कुछ सफर होगा और इसका यहाँ से यहाँ तक का कुछ सफर होगा, राइट। तो हम हीट एक्सचेंज का रेट मैक्सिमम करने के लिए क्या करेंगे, इसको यहाँ तक खींच के जा सकते हैं, ये यहाँ से ऐसे होगा, ऐसे कुछ कर सकते हैं, बट द मोमेंट दिस क्रॉसेस हियर, ठीक है, तो उस पॉइंट पे क्या हो जाएगा, इस से ये वाले लेंथ के पॉइंट पे कोल्ड स्ट्रीम का टेम्परेचर, ये जो तुम्हारे कोल्ड स्ट्रीम का टेम्परेचर है वो तुम्हारे हॉट स्ट्रीम के ऊपर चला गया, ठीक है, तो क्या होगा, हीट ट्रांसफर की डायरेक्शन चेंज हो जाएगी, राइट, एंड वी डोंट वांट दैट। सो द मैक्सिमम दैट आई कैन रीच इज फॉर द कोल्ड स्ट्रीम ऐसे भी हो सकती है, इस टेम्परेचर तक भी आ सकती है, मैक्सिमम वो यहाँ तक ही जा सकती है, इसके ऊपर गई तो तुम्हारा हीट ट्रांसफर का रेट चेंज हो गया। सो द मैक्सिमम लिमिट ऑन द टेम्परेचर इज दिस TH in, करेक्ट, सो विच इज 90 यहाँ पे, क्लियर। मैक्सिमम लिमिट फॉर दिस सिमिलरली, नाउ ये हॉट स्ट्रीम है, इसका टेम्परेचर प्रोफाइलिंग कुछ ऐसे होगा, यहाँ से ऐसे ऐसे, ये नीचे नीचे जाते यहाँ तक पहुंचेगा, अगर ये यहाँ से नीचे गया तो इधर वाले रीजन में, ये इधर वाला रीजन जो है हीट एक्सचेंजर का, ये लेंथ जो मैं अभी हाईलाइट कर रहा हूँ, इसमें क्या होगा, हीट ट्रांसफर की डायरेक्शन उल्टी हो जाएगी, क्योंकि ये तुम्हारा एंट्री पॉइंट था और ये इससे नीचे जा चुका है, करेक्ट। सो maximum drop can be up to 25, this cannot go to 24 or 20 degree Celsius, क्योंकि अगर ये 20 हो गया तो यहाँ पे this stream will be exchanging heat, I mean so this will be absorbing heat over here, इधर अगर ये 20 हो गया so it means that the hot stream will absorb the heat and this is not possible, क्योंकि ये stream cool हो रही थी, this stream was getting cooled, but at this point thermodynamically it says that this stream should absorb heat, जबकि this stream was giving away the heat, right, ये giver था और वो इधर absorber नहीं बन सकता है ना, so you can only reach up to 25. Kaushik, do you understand up to here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I know M, I know CP, I know maximum delta T that I can achieve, maximum delta C, that delta T that I can achieve is please keep my words very clear, delta T that I can achieve, okay, for hot stream and cold stream, and I can just take the product of them, ठीक है, मैंने इनका प्रोडक्ट ले लिया, तो मैंने कुछ नंबर्स डाल दिए, क्योंकि नंबर्स से चीजें बहुत आसान होती है समझने में, तो मैंने लेट्स से ये प्रोडक्ट 100 मान लिया, ये प्रोडक्ट 200 आ रहा है, आ सकता है सीपी के कुछ यूनिट्स है, मास फ्लो रेट के कुछ यूनिट्स है, ठीक है, तो ये 100 है, ये 200 है, ओके, इसका मैक्सिमम डेल्टा टी क्या हो सकता है, 65, 90 माइनस 25, 65 इंटू 100 कितना आएगा, 6500। सो ये हीट एक्सचेंजर में, इन दिस पर्टिकुलर हीट एक्सचेंजर फॉर द गिवन फ्लो रेट एंड इनलेट टेम्परेचर्स ऑफ दिस, द वैल्यूज दैट आर इन ब्लू, फॉर दिस गिवन हीट एक्सचेंजर, फॉर द वैल्यूज दैट आर इन ब्लू, right, I can say that this particular stream can have a maximum heat transfer rate of this. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Again, for the values in blue, the maximum heat transfer rate in this heat exchanger that I can achieve for this particular cold stream is 13,000 kilowatts, is 13,000 watts. Do you agree?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
अब मुझे बताओ, ये स्ट्रीम कोल्ड स्ट्रीम 13,000 वैट दे सकती है, हॉट स्ट्रीम 6,500 वैट एक्सचेंज कर सकती है, ठीक है, तो इस हीट एक्सचेंजर में व्हाट विल बी द मैक्सिमम एरिया दैट यू कैन अचीव, sorry, what will be the maximum heat transfer rate that you can achieve? Is it 6,500 or 13,000?
13,000.
Okay, so this stream can give 13,000, but can this stream accept 13,000?
No, 6,500. Okay, sir.
Can this stream accept 13,000? No, right?
No.
So
Yes.
13,000 तो possible ही नहीं है heat rate, क्योंकि whatever heat that has been lost by the hot stream has to be gained by the cold stream, right?
Yes, sir.
So ये तो 13,000 के लिए रेडी है, बट वो 6,500 के ऊपर एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर पाएगा, So what will be the maximum Q max for this heat exchanger?
6,500.
Very good. So now this 6,500 is coming out to be the product of TH minus TH in minus TC in times the MCP वैल्यू विच इज मिनिमम. अगर कल चल के यही एग्जांपल में ये 100 की जगह 200 होता एंड ये 200 की जगह 100 होता, तो this stream would have limited the maximum heat transfer rate, correct?
Yes, sir.
So the maximum heat transfer rate permitted for a heat exchanger will be MCP minimum times the TH in minus TC in. Is this particular case clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Great. And ये मैक्सिमम हो सकता है, ठीक है. आपके केस में कितना एक्चुअल हीट ट्रांसफर रेट होना है, कितना चाहिए आपको, ठीक है, दैट विल बी गिवन बाय Q, that is Q, the actual है, and Qmax is the maximum that I can get. Okay, Qmax is the maximum that I can get. So यहाँ तक चीजें I hope are clear. All right, and this is particularly the definition for Q max and epsilon. So epsilon is your Q by Q max, where Q max is given by the formula highlighted in blue. Now the next thing that I want to define is number of transfer units. So NTU stands for transfer units. Okay, so now the question is, how do you define NTU? So NTU is given by UA divided by C min, okay, where C min is the MCP minimum value. Okay, ये एक definition है, that's it. Nothing big, nothing difficult. It's simply a definition. Is this clear? ये एक बस definition है और कुछ नहीं इसके ऊपर. Okay, so अब how to solve a problem? How to solve a problem? What should be our approach? So for epsilon NTU, steps are as follows. What you have to do is first calculate the value of CR ratio, which is given by C min by C max. So basically what you do is, for the given problem, you take the product of MCP CPC, and then you take the product of MH CPH, and C, which is the minimum, which is the maximum. Whichever is minimum, you keep it on the numerator, whichever is the maximum, you keep it on the denominator, and you calculate the value of CR. Then you can go for calculating NTU, which is given by UA C min. So for a heat exchanger, any sort of heat exchanger we have seen, okay. Let me go back to some of our previous lecture. Yeah, this is good. ये प्रॉब्लम है, ये हमारा शेल एंड ट्यूब हीट एक्सचेंजर का मोस्ट कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम को हम लोग देखते हैं, ठीक है. जस्ट हैव अ लुक ओवर हियर. एक बार यू का कैलकुलेशन स्टार्ट करने के लिए हमने कुछ एरिया लिया है, या एरिया हैज बीन फिक्स्ड, लाइक हीट एक्सचेंजर में कितने ट्यूब्स है, वो सब सब कुछ हमने फिक्स कर लिया. गो जस्ट सी ओवर हियर, इसमें टेम्परेचर का कोई खेल है? नहीं. कहीं पे कोई खेल आया टेम्परेचर का इन सब केसेस में? या किसी को कहीं पे टेम्परेचर का खेल दिखा? यस yes? अगर किसी को दिखा है तो सिंपली रेज योर हैंड गाइस. नहीं, क्योंकि टेम्परेचर आता ही नहीं है पिक्चर में यू कैलकुलेट करने के. तो वंस अ हीट एक्सचेंजर specifications are fixed, like a double pipe heat exchanger with inner pipe of this diameter, outer pipe of this diameter with a thickness of this, and then उसके बाद में mass flow rates are fixed, you and the streams are fixed, किस कौन सी stream कहाँ जाने वाली है. You can easily calculate the value of u independently. This has nothing to do with it. You know the area, you know the Siemens, so basically you can calculate the value of NTU. Correct? हाँ या ना? Raise of hand guys please. अगर नहीं समझ में आ रहा है प्लीज अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ, वी कैन टॉक अबाउट इट. या देवांग. ओके ओके, यहाँ तक मतलब आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग दैट इट इज क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन. ग्रेट. Understood. Okay, great. So then you calculate the value of NTU. Now there are some equations and figures. There are some equations and figures for epsilon as a function of NTU. So let me. So epsilon is a function of NTU, CR, and flow arrangements. Because I had already showed you what happens when we have a counter flow arrangement and a parallel flow arrangement. Area कैसे बदल जाता है and things like that. So your actual epsilon will depend on that. So what they have done is they have separated the flow arrangements. So for each type of flow arrangement they have given a set of equation. So counter flow के लिए एक expression है epsilon का in terms of NTU and CR. Parallel flow के लिए epsilon का एक expression है in terms of NTU and CR. So let me write out those equations for you. So epsilon is equal to 1 minus exponential of minus NTU times 1 minus CR upon 1 minus CR times exponential of minus NTU times 1 minus CR. This particular expression is for counter flow. For parallel flow, again these are for double pipe. Okay, again for parallel flow this is epsilon is equal to 1 minus exponential of minus NTU times 1 plus CR upon 1 plus CR times this thing, same thing with a plus. Okay, so ऐसे expressions मिल जाएंगे आपको. Okay, I will तो बेसिकली ये एक्सप्रेशंस के फॉर्म में भी मिलते, ये इन सब के आपको एक्सप्रेशंस भी मिलते हैं एंड ग्राफ्स भी मिलते हैं. ग्राफ्स कैसे होंगे? ग्राफ्स विल लुक समथिंग लाइक दिस. ओके, यहाँ पे आपका NTU की वैल्यू होगी, यहाँ पे एप्सिलॉन की वैल्यू होगी, एंड फॉर डिफरेंट वैल्यूज ऑफ CR graphs will be drawn. Is this clear? Yeah, you can see. So ऐसे कुछ लाइंस होंगे इधर. So CR cannot be greater than 1. CR can be minimum can be 0, maximum can be 1. So ये इस तरह से कुछ ग्राफ्स होंगे फॉर डिफरेंट वैल्यूज ऑफ CR. हर एक CR के एक लाइन बनेगी. So this is CR1, CR2, this is my CR3, so on and so forth. So you basically take a value of NTU to the value of the CR and then go here, calculate. So graphs are not that pretty much accurate, though they are drawn from the equations only. Equation से ही वो graph बनते हैं, but इतने accurate नहीं होते graphs. Equations are more accurate, but at times equations tend to be tedious. So prefer using graphs. So yeah, so our step 2, let me coming back. So yeah, so our step 2 was to calculate the value of epsilon. Now once the value of epsilon is known, you can simply compute the value of Q, right? How? Compute Q. Okay, how? Epsilon.
Epsilon into Q max.
Yeah, from here exactly will be epsilon times Q max, right, which will be epsilon times C min into THN minus TC. Okay, that implies Q is equal to, now this is correct. So you can get the value of Q. Once the value of Q has been computed, you can easily find out the values of TH hot and TC out, T out temperatures. Like this will be THN minus Q over MHCPH. This is just rearrangement of Q is equal to MCP delta T. Okay, this will be TC in plus the temperature is going to be increase for the cold stream, so a plus sign M cold times CPC. All right, so this is the particular set of steps for solving a problem using epsilon NTU method. Is this clear? Please raise your hands if the steps are clear to you. Okay, great. So let me take a example to show you how this problem works. And oh, so I will use the same double pipe heat exchange problem that we had discussed in our previous classes. So the problem was regarding benzene, which was to be cooled using so this is regarding the benzene condensate that were coming from the distillation column, and it has to be cooled at 1000 kg per hour, and we were cooling it from 75 degrees Celsius to, I don't know, this is and we were using 25-meter long double pipe heat exchanger with say counter flow, and we were using water to cool it. Can anyone just tell me the values of inlet and outlet temperature for water? I mean, the inlet temp, yeah, for the problem. Let me just get it from the question. Okay, so 50, and yeah, the water was coming in at 20 degrees Celsius to, I don't know. We are trying to solve the same problem using epsilon NTU method. So we are going to check in a way, okay, is it matching or not? Okay, so what was the heat transfer area? I have given the length. It's 25-meter long. So for heat transfer area, I guess you will require outer diameter. So outer diameter of the pipe, which will be 25 mm, if I'm not wrong. Right. So the area for this problem will be pi d naught times L, which will be pi into 25 into 25 into 10 to the power minus 3. Yes, can anyone calculate this value for me?
One 1.963.
1.963. Okay. So you know the area of this heat exchanger now. All right. You will require the value of U. So does anyone remember the value of U that we got in that problem? Was it around 250? Roughly around 250?
270, sir.
270. Okay. Okay. Sounds reasonable. And you will also require the CP values for benzene and water. So what were those? 1.88 and 4.18, or we used 1.88 and 4.2. Yes,
Yes, sir.
we use these values. Okay, great. So we know this, and now we want to counter check, or we are now trying to solve this problem using epsilon NTU method. Okay, so the first step, as discussed, will be to calculate MCP values for cold stream and MCP values for hot stream. So what was the mass flow rate of water in that problem? You can just take that value from over here, 1124, right?
Yes, sir. 1124.
Kg per hour, right?
No, yes, sir.
So simply take those values and find out the capital CC and capital CH. So we are now generated a problem. Basically, we are solving the same problem from epsilon NTU and you will realize the beauty that the values will match to the output values of temperature that we had in our initial problem. So this value was, I guess, 50 degrees Celsius, and this value was, I guess, 30 degrees Celsius. We'll see if the values are matching or not, and then you'll understand how these things work. So let's calculate the CC value. So this will be 1124 1 by 3600 times 4.2, and this will be 1000 into 1 by 3600 into 1.88, and these values will now be in kilojoule per second and kilojoule per second. Yeah, so what is the value of CC that you are getting, or rather we are getting?
One 1.305.
Okay, and what is the value that we are getting over here? Hey,
0.5.
0.522.
5.
Okay, so what is the C min? C hot or C cold? C hot, correct? Now what was the next step in the problem? We calculated C min, we know C max. So first step is to calculate CR, and second step is to calculate CR and NTU, right? So we have now got this, that C min is C hot. Okay, so CR will be C hot by C cold, which is 0.522 by 1.305, which comes out to be, yes, anyone?
0.47.
0.4. Okay, and NTU will be given by UA divided by C min. So this was 270, I suppose. This was around 1.9. What was it? 1.963. And yeah, what was C min was 0.522. And this is coming out to be
1013.8.
Yeah, just a second, I'm just confirming it. Oh, is it correct, or we are kind of missing out on something? What was the unit for 270 watt? So it should be point something, right? And that unit was kilojoules. So you need to it won't be 1000 point something. It will be 1.015. Yeah, you guys can cross check. That was 270 watt per meter square degree Celsius, and this value of CC is in kilojoules, so this needs to be divided by 1000, so it should be 1.015. Yeah, okay. So for a counter current, the value of will you not go for graphs? We'll simply use expression. This is 1 minus exponential of minus NTU, which is minus 1.015 times 1 minus 0.4 divided by 1 minus 0.4 times exponential minus 1.015 into 1 minus 0.4. Calculate this value and let me know what is the value of epsilon that you're getting. Should be somewhere around 0.54 or 5556, something like that.
The 0.58.
Yeah, somewhere close to that. Yeah, 0.58. I have the graphical value, so it is around 0.56 or something. So expression value is the accurate one. So 0.58. Okay, great. बाकी लोगों को भी यही वैल्यू आ रही है ना? Yes, no, hand raise, please. Okay, great. All right. So then we go to this particular step 3 and calculate Q, which is equal to epsilon times C min into THN minus PCN. What is C min? 0.522 times was it coming at this was coming in at 75 and this was exiting at 20. Yeah. Okay, so what is the value of Q that you are getting in this problem?
$16.65.
16.65 and units, please. Sai Kiran.
Kilowatt.
Very good. And now go for calculating your THO, which is THN minus Q over MH CPH, or rather instead of having we can write it as CH and TC out TC in plus Q over CC. Yeah, so THN was 75 minus 16.65 divided by what was CH 0.522. This will be 20 minus 16.55 divided by 1.305 plus, sorry. Yeah. So what is the value of TH out? $43.1, huh? And this value
32.8.
32.8. Okay. Now this makes me remember that in our problem, though we had though I had asked like the question that I had asked was what is the length required? Is the length sufficient or not? And I guess instead of 25, we had found out that the length was around 17 meters, correct? Anyone can comment on it?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so
16 points.
yeah, so I suppose if you just change it to 17 instead of 25 over here, your values will exactly match. Uh, since I had solved this problem by taking 25, I had recalculated it while you were solving this, and the values that come are this. So if I just take 25 meter and then try to solve it with and find out these values, then roughly this value comes to be 43 and 33, meaning that for the very first problem that we had, okay, in our class, so in that problem what I had given you was, let me go to that problem, that will be great. What was the lecture number? Just a second. Future problems on heat exchangers, all this problem considering, yeah, somewhere here, yeah. Yeah. So rather instead of 55 here, if I take somewhere around 43, and instead of 20 over here, I take somewhere around the 23 value, 23 only, correct? 23 or 30.
Instead of 30, you want to take 33.
Yeah. Well, this is again a diagram of our parallel flow. So yeah, so here if I take 33 and have it in counter flow, okay, then the area length will come around 25 meter, and then I give you this problem and try to ask you to solve it. You will get the desired answer, and in this case what you can do is do a small homework wherein you guys take the value of length to be around 17 meters. So instead of 25, go for 17 meters, or else it will take hardly a minute. Let's see. So what is the new area that we are getting if I take this as 17?
1.3.
पक्का कोई गलती नहीं है ना?
Yes, sir. 1.
Okay, so what is the new value that I am getting for NTU now? Point 270 1.36 divided by 0.703. Yeah, can anyone please calculate the value of epsilon for me?
Zero 0.46.
0.46. Okay. Okay. And this value changes to 0.46 into 0.522 into 55, 13.21 kilowatt, 13.21 or 0.522, 25.3 and This value is coming to be 49.7 degrees Celsius. And actually this is 13.2 only. So this is coming out with 47.8. This is 206. So find I mean this value is 6 something. So if I take up to 4 decimals accuracy, so 49.8, and over here again I need to change the value. 13.1 divided by 0.305. So this value now comes out to be 31 degrees Celsius. All right. I hope you are getting these values, 49.8 and 30.1. Huh? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So you see, after taking out the appropriate values, we could actually get down to the same problem that we had. So the same problem that we had discussed earlier, okay, can be solved by using epsilon NTU, and both the methods are giving us the same answer. I hope this is clear to each and everyone. So this was one problem on epsilon NTU. Tomorrow I will take another problem on epsilon NTU, wherein I will show you the need for corrections, why we are getting some 0.1, 0.2 degree difference in both the cases. Well, one main reason for it is that the length was approximated. Okay, it was not exactly 17, it was 16 point something. But apart from that, there is one more thing that needs to be accommodated, that I will tell you tomorrow. For this problem कोई problem नहीं था, but in real life जब भी आप ये problem solve करोगे तो you have to accommodate for one more thing. So I will discuss that tomorrow. Also, we'll have some interesting discussion on temperature profiles and some more related topics. So we'll have the second lecture on epsilon NTU tomorrow at our regular time. Till then, thank you very much, and hope you have enjoyed this lecture and understood a second approach to solve heat transfer problems. So with this, I conclude today's lecture, and thank you.